Hey everyone, welcome back to our Outlander Droughtlander chat. Robert and I are so excited because we have one of the best, Steven Cree, who plays OG Ian. You know, Steven, IMDb calls you old Ian, which I think is rude. How do you feel about that?
I think this originated because when I was back doing season 7 recently, in the script and on the call sheet for those that don't know is in the morning you get like a sheet telling you what time you're going to be picked up, what scenes you're doing that day, and it has the characters' names. So like number 1, Claire, number 2, Jamie. And mine was down as, it was either, I think it was old Ian or the elder Ian. I can't remember, one or the other. And I was like, when did this happen? Like I am Ian Murray. He's young Ian Murray. That's the way. That's the way it should be. And it was on my trailer as well, old Ian. And I noticed that when they announced it in the press, it was like Steven Cree's coming back as old Ian Murray. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm coming back as the original Ian Murray. What are you talking about?
So you should put that on the call sheet.
Yeah. Sorry, I just swore already.
Sorry, it's okay. I can bleep it out, or I cannot because it's my video.
Americans that in the American.
I'll try. In my great surprise at many of the conventions I've done, I find that even the American fans actually seem to be strangely charmed by the amount of profanities.
I know. I actually think
that do come out.
They say that people who swear are more creative, and it's good for. I think it's good for children. I'm, not swearing at children. Let me clarify.
No, that's true. I can vouch for that.
My kids talk. It's pretty. It makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. They're like old sailors. But Look, I think more swearing the better. Look, we won't say the C word. That's only for when it's just Australians on the chat. Okay.
Yeah. All right, you guys can swear as much as you want. I can bleep it out or I cannot. It's kind of my choice. So I'm just going to do what I feel like.
I'll try and keep it to
it. So guys, as you all know, Steven brings the chaos and the joy behind the scenes to Outlander. And of course, Robert, thank you so much for committing to the character of Ian, the original Ian Murray, that is, and growing your hair out. Are you going to release the bun?
I don't know if I should because, it looks like a bird's nest at the moment because I have just gotten out of bed. Let's be honest.
Yeah, so it's 7 a.m.
later. We can do like a.
I have to say,
I want to see it too. Can we see it at the end?
Okay.
Can you give us a profile shot a second?
Yeah.
Of the bun. Oh, it's a mini bun.
I'm actually genuinely jealous of that. About a year ago, in fact, a year ago, I grew my hair. I hadn't worked for a while, and I grew my hair long. And I wanted to do. I attempted a bit of a man bun. My wife absolutely and utterly hated my hair long. To be fair, looking back at photos, it didn't. I've got really curly hair. It didn't look great. But also, I don't have. At almost 43 years of old, I don't rock that incredible hairline that you've got, Robert. So in a man bun
looks okay.
It's all right, but it's scraped back like that.
Oh yeah,
It's not. You need a strong hairline for the man
older
bun.
than you. I'm 45, right? I just turned 45.
Oh yeah, rub it in. Thanks.
Horrifying. And this is all I've got. Everything else has fallen apart. I've got this hairline, and it's about to go anyway. So whatever, right? You guys,
I don't have your problem.
That's all you need.
I just have a lot of hair, and I'm so glad women don't have hairlines that recede for the most part. But I think you both look fantastic, and the hair is great. So I think we're all good.
Which is basically what I was working around towards there. So thank you for that.
Okay, and yesterday some huge news dropped. Outlander is ending. Granted, we still have probably 2 more years on the air, but only 1 more season of filming. Steve, how do you feel about that?
It's interesting because it's I was doing interviews yesterday for a new TV show that I have coming out next month, and always in most interviews they'll always ask me a question about Outlander as well. And obviously I was back doing season 7, and I was saying in that they were talking about me being back for season 7, And I said that I'd always made it clear to the producers that if they ever wanted me back for a little bit or for a storyline, I would always go back, because you never know in your career if you're going to be involved again in like a worldwide phenomenon like Outlander, and it is a worldwide phenomenon. So it's been a part of my life since 2013. When did I get I think I felt 2014. 2014,
Wow.
I think.
2013 is when they cast everyone, because
I think,
2014.
yeah, I got. I think they cast the most of the cast in 2013, but then I didn't get cast until halfway through season 1, because I remember I started filming just as season 1 started, and the show has been like, it's been an incredible thing to be involved in, and like what I say now, the show took on another life for me as well. Maybe the same with Annette. In that I've actually only been in about 12 or 13 episodes over the entirety of the show, but because of the fan conventions as well, I've felt like a much bigger part of it. And even though, like, when I went back and filmed there, that was the first time more or less I'd been on set in 5 years. But the conventions, kind of, it's become something else, and it kind of means even. And I think because I've met so many fans over the years, and I know loads of them by face and by their first name now, and I know about their families. It's been it kind of feels like you're part of one big family. So even though the show is going to end, and I know a lot of people are going to be sad about that, I think like in a way, I don't think it will ever end in that sense. Like the community is always going to be there.
Yeah. And also thanks to Netflix, like, that this fandom like loves to rewatch and rewatch. So I think you guys are gonna live on forever, to be honest, which is great, because it is bittersweet. It is such a nice, you have such a nice cast and you have such a nice audience. So when the news dropped yesterday, although I expected it a bit, I was just like, oh, this is so exciting that they're getting one more season, but also so deeply sad that, it's going to be over. So,
although you also don't want to, you want to end it while it's still like at a high point, and where I think a lot of shows just go on to, and actually Outlander has ran for a long time as it is, and there's a lot of episodes, but some shows definitely go past the point where they should have stopped, and kind of lose some of what was great about it, I think. So, good to go out while it's still.
Yeah, it's a great long run, and I think it's going to wrap the story in a perfect amount of time. So we're so excited to see you for season 7. Before we get to flashbacking and get some Cree commentary is what I'm calling it. I would love to know, like, tell us a little bit about your new show.
So the new show is called The Diplomat. Not to be confused with, because you mentioned Netflix there, weirdly or coincidentally, Netflix actually did a show last year called The Diplomat as well, but Kerry Russell is the lead in that one, and that's for Netflix. This one is for over here it's for Sky TV, and in the States, I don't know, maybe it'll end up on BritBox or Masterpiece.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Possibly. Okay. It's set in Barcelona. It's centered around a British diplomat based in Barcelona called Laura Simmons, who's played by Sophie Rundle, who people might know from Peaky Blinders or Gentleman Jack or loads of other stuff. And she is in Barcelona basically on a week-by-week basis, dealing with distressed British nationals, which is also known as DBNs, and basically British people in Barcelona, from ranging from things like losing their passport to far more dramatic things. Because I think if you were just losing your passport, it wouldn't be a very interesting series. And I come into it. My character's called Sam Henderson, and I come in and play the new consul of the British consulate. So I'm playing her boss, basically. But you realise very early on that there is much more to my character than meets the eye. And by the end of episode 1, you should hopefully be intrigued and hooked into wondering what is going on, because all is not what it seems. And then over the course of the series, it's actually really interesting tonally. They described it as The Good Wife meets Spooks. I think Spooks in America was called MI5.
Yes.
Something.
Okay.
So it kind of basically they've kind of tried to blend, I think, like some of the humor and kind of lightheartedness that you see in The Good Wife with, there's like the continuing story through it is gritty and dark and quite complex. But the show also it's kind of managed to blend that, but also have a kind of lightness about it as well, which I think is actually really hard to do in shows. But I think that they've done it really, really well. The cast are all fantastic. And Barcelona, I think, isn't a city, certainly that I've seen many things filmed in. I think people aren't that familiar with it. And a bit like Scotland and Outlander, hopefully Barcelona will be like an extra character in the show that, you know, adds something to it. And I think like you never know how things are going to go down. You never know how they're going to be received. But I think they've done, like, I think, you know, the people that made it have done a brilliant job, and we all had a brilliant time making it. So hopefully people will enjoy watching it.
That sounds amazing.
It's very accessible, I would say, in terms of, without being, you know, some shows, sometimes you're in the mood to watch something that's really heavy, and you know, but you know that you're going to have to sit and laser focus on. I think The Diplomat is great in the sense of it is clever and it is intelligent and it is complicated, but you can also sit down and just enjoy watching it.
I hope it comes to the US on BritBox or Masterpiece, because that sounds like exactly my type of show.
It will definitely come to the US, and I only suggest that I guess a lot of British crime stuff ends up on Masterpiece, doesn't it? And BritBox
also,
seems to be really.
BritBox is doing a lot
BritBox,
of it, because I think Karen Peary with Lauren
Perry
on there, which was very good.
So it's the same. It's the same production company that made Karen Perry.
All right. So Steve, we'll probably talk about it when it comes to the US then. Okay, wait, before we get to the flashbacking, how would you end Outlander? How would Steven Cree write Jamie and Claire's ending?
I mean, look, if I'm being sincere, which I never normally am, they've got to. I mean, I remember from season 1, there's the ghost standing outside, isn't there? And that mystery hasn't been solved yet, has it, or told?
Nope.
So I guess they're going to have to. I mean, it's got. I mean, I haven't watched the series since season 1 because you just don't. There's no fun in watching things that you're in, and that you can't suspend your disbelief in the same way. You can't get lost in it. But so I'm not sure what. I don't know if that story has been alluded to again. I mean, I guess it must be Jamie, purely, I would think.
Yeah, I think Diana
is that the kind of thinking?
Yeah, Diana has said that it is indeed Jamie's ghost, but I don't think
really? Okay.
She's not going to write the ending until this book that she's writing right now, book 10. Have you read any of the books?
Book 1 and book 2.
Okay. You were going to ask a question?
Did Jamie can't travel forward, can he?
No,
because
he can't
I realized that
he can't travel anywhere. He can't go forwards or backwards, but it seems like he has some dream power.
Right, because Richard Rankin was explaining that to me recently. I think that there's only certain characters that have some kind of gene in them.
I think it's
where they can.
Roger, Brianna, their Jemmy, their child. Claire. And that's some peripheral characters that come on we know about.
Why? How did that happen? Is that just is that something that just appeared in the later books to explain why
Yeah,
people
I
time
know. I
travel?
wanted the same
They're
thing.
not really explaining it. I feel like it's like Diana Gabaldon is just kind of like, I'm going to throw all this out and I hope it makes sense at the end. I think she has a very good plan, probably. I just don't think any of us know it yet.
Listen, I think when we're getting into, so you know, my favorite show when I was a kid was Quantum Leap, and when we're getting into time travel, and
Scott
people,
Bakula.
yeah, if you come up with a brilliant premise, just accept it. You know,
Exactly.
don't
Yeah.
have to.
Then disbelief. So
Yeah.
give me your inauthentic.
So what would I think?
Yeah, what would you do? And you don't have to be authentic about it. Like, give us the Cree version.
I mean, the Cree version is not repeatable on this. I actually did have some kind of version that I spoke about in Seattle last year, and it's definitely not. I wouldn't want it committed
Okay.
to camera. I think being Outlander probably, you know, maybe it would end in an orgy or something.
Yes,
like everyone just frolicking naked in the fields of Lallybroch, the ghost of Dougal, the ghost of everyone who's died, Murta back. You could then fade out, and as you're fading out with everyone in the fields naked and covered in mud, you can kick in the Skyboat song.
Oh yeah,
and just gently fade out. I mean, surely that would be an epic image to go out on.
I'm seeing it. But it's important you to really remember that most of the characters are related to each other, except for.
Does that? I mean, listen, I don't know. Does that stop people in Outlander? I'm not sure.
Think so.
Oh, I don't know.
Feels like most lines have been crossed.
Okay, I feel like Jamie and Claire are not related. So maybe we can just end on their part and everyone else just can be naked, but maybe not.
Like in doing some kind of weird like
dance
thing.
Interpretive dance.
I like the more, but that's all right, whatever. Like
I don't have to bleep the whole interview.
I mean, okay. I think the fans would go for that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Everybody dies each other.
Yes.
Sing me a song of the last that is.
That was actually quite close to my idea that I had in Seattle. That was a bit closer to it.
And you kind of turned it on me and made me say it.
Yeah, I like it. I like that you got the punchline.
I did.
Good job.
All right, guys, let's do some Cree commentary and flashback to your very first scene on Outlander. Quick question, do you remember what your first line was?
Jamie. I do. Hold on. Jamie, you always knew how to make an entrance.
Okay, close. You say something before that. Are you ready? Okay.
It's good to see you, Jamie.
Good to see you, Jamie. Close.
Okay,
Jenny, it's actually to answer Jamie's question to Jenny.
Okay.
Correct me, brother, if I'm wrong, but I have a strong impression you're saying that I played the whore to Captain Randall.
I'd rather I was dead in my grave than see my sister brought to such. And whose is this one? To have you ruin yourself for me was shame enough, but...
I thought Sam was about to forget his lines there.
Damn. Let's just look at that.
Father, to give him a name. We shouldn't have come.
Jamie, perhaps we should all go inside. Tell that trollop to keep her name out of my business.
Oh, shit.
She's my wife, and you'll speak of her with respect.
Jamie, please. Do I have to do what I did when we were bairns? Grab you by the bollocks and make you stand still and listen to me?
You're now trying to shame me in front of my own wife.
Well, if she's your wife, I imagine she's more familiar with your balls than I am. Don't test me, brother.
Laura's Scottish accent is so good.
I know.
Last I saw you, bloodied and broken, strung up by your wrists.
Pretty Sam looks it. Oh, here he is.
Oh,
here he is.
You were blinded by Sam looking pretty.
I was there. My God, he was. I've never understood all the fuss. I finally in that one shot, I finally get why he's the king of men.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
He's just beautiful.
Oh, beautiful guy. All right.
I mean,
And broke.
it's a shame he's aged so badly.
I know he looks terrible now, but anyway, that's a whole other story.
All right, here we go. First line coming up.
Broken, strung up by your wrists in that archway, and then leaving me to think you're dead or certain never to return again. And this is how you come home.
Whose child is the boy? Mine. And that one too. You know.
Your brother-in-law.
It's good to see you, Jamie. You always knew how to make an entrance. We thought you were dead until we received your chest from Castle Leoch.
Wow, everyone looks so young as well.
Babies.
You look the same.
My goodness. Now that's a hairline.
And this would be...
The trollop, otherwise known as Claire Fraser.
Wow. I'm just smiling the whole way through that scene. They wanted to yellow or dull down my teeth, I remember, because I think maybe the year before or something, I'd had my teeth whitened.
Yeah.
And so like when I came in and smiled at first, they were like, whoa, your teeth are not from the 18th century. And I think I remember being keen to try and, or maybe that was, it was probably how I was directed as well, but to try and get across right from the beginning. Like the one thing I remember getting and reading book one, was just Ian's kind of good-naturedness and always being the sort of voice of reason in the middle of a shitstorm. So I think that's probably why I was smiling so much. Probably also trying to show off my teeth whitening as well to the watching audience. I remember when I heard that for the first time. One, because we put on slightly different Scottish accents than how we actually speak. So the first time I heard it, when I did when I saw it for the first time, I thought I remember thinking my Scottish accent sounds horrendous. Like I thought I sounded like I was somebody because we're speaking like that, and I was like, like in Scotland we do roll our R's, but in that it's really like girl and everything. It's so overpronounced, and the boy is mine.
There's a lot of R rolling. I feel like Scottish accents and Indian accents are kind of similar.
Well, listen, there probably are similarities in there without a doubt. There's a lot of R rolling, and I also remember thinking that I was trying, and I think this all the time and stuff. I thought, I'm doing like a really sort of like husky, deep, sort of sexy voice, and I heard myself, and I'm like, Jamie, it's good to see you, Jamie. I thought I sound because Sam's got quite a deep voice. Actually, I remember I thought I sound like a fucking chipmunk, and I look like a potato in a wig next to this strapping, like 6'4", looks like look at that with a very flattering wig as well. I was
I think season 1 that was his real hair, from what I understand.
Oh, so it was. No, I think yes. I think it was partly his real hair and partly some extensions, maybe a little bit. Yeah. Or something. That is crazy seeing that. I have not seen that for such a long time. And I mean, it honestly just it brings back so many memories. Yeah. Just immediately. I put on in the course of season 1. I was in Glasgow for 9 weeks, and my hotel was right next to an Italian restaurant. It was 2014 because it was the World Cup in Germany. Mm-hmm. And because I had on that costume, I thought I don't really need to worry about staying in shape. And every single night, just about, I had pizza and ice cream for dinner. And I put on so much weight during the course of filming that when I went to the first ever Outlander convention at Highlanders in London, a few people said to me, "Oh, you're smaller in real life. Did you put on weight to play Ian Murray?"
Yeah.
You're
Bloody
like,
Italian food. I mean,
Yeah, no, just pizzas.
wait, so Laura Donnelly, how is it working with her? She seems to be such a force. Will she ever appear in Star Force? That's what I'd like to know.
I think she would. I think there's probably more chance of her appearing in Star Force than Outlander. Now, I don't know if Star Force will ever go again, though. You never know. I mean, hopefully not due to another lockdown.
We don't need that.
But yeah, she's brilliant. You know, I remember in season 1, actually, Laura was in between takes and in between scenes. Laura was far more focused than me. I'm a bit of a, depending what the scene requires or depending what's going on, I kind of haven't massively changed since I was at school, and I was always the class clown and talked too much, joked too much, kind of wanted to entertain. Whereas Laura would completely and utterly join in, but would also stay kind of far more focused and far more, just wouldn't piss about as much in the same way.
I think her character kind of demanded that. Like Ian and Jenny are so different in that scene.
Totally. And I think it's actually that's weirdly, that does sometimes happen. Like that job I did in Barcelona, I wasn't really like that as much because it was you know, people talk a lot about being method and stuff, and I actually just think different jobs, depending on what the characters you're playing, bring out different sides of you. When I was filming The Twin in Estonia last year or the year before, it was really depressing, and the nature of the story was depressing. We were, you know, it was a horror film, but it was about the death of our son. And so every day you were doing scenes dealing with grief in a way. And it's harder to, and I find it harder to joke about when that's going on. But she's brilliant, and it's interesting seeing her there because she did, you know, and I know that the fans love her, and she did such an amazing job on it as well. And somebody asked me yesterday, what was it like filming with not filming with Jenny, not filming with Laura, and I said, you know, it was actually it was fine because I hadn't filmed with Laura for over 6 years anyway. Like I hadn't been an Outlander for 5 years. I hadn't filmed with Laura since season 3, which was like I think 2016 or something, and I never really had, in the whole time we filmed, I only ever had one scene with her, one-on-one. It was always with other people there. So it, you kind of just, you just kind of go with it. And Kristin did such a, I mean, I hope, you know, I think the fans will love her. And I know that it's probably always a bit of an adjustment to get your head around seeing someone else as the character. But
people seem really excited about Kristin, and I think enough time has elapsed that they'll go with it, you know.
Yeah, look, completely.
Okay.
And I think, yeah, anyway.
I was going to say, you know, speaking of levity, the next clip is kind of infamous, and I get so many questions about this, and I think you probably get a lot of questions about it. So here we go. This is the first dinner at Lallybroch.
Oh yes, I know which one this is going to be.
Fine. You do. And then let's share. Okay, here we go, guys.
It's good to hear.
We'll take a look at the ledgers after we've eaten. Aye.
Thought you'd want to visit Father's grave.
Aye. Tomorrow.
If he were alive, he'd expect a visit this evening.
If he were alive, he'd expect me to go over the ledgers and prepare for quarter day.
Suit yourself, then.
Stuffed cabbage, Claire.
No, thank you.
Like So much to offer there. Like, thank you for your
All right,
contribution.
let's have you Cree commentary. Break this down for us. I mean, when I first watched this scene, I was like, "What stuffed cabbage? That sounds terrible." And then two, I loved how Claire just said, "No, I don't want your stuffed cabbage."
No, it's so right. So I get asked the two questions I get asked all the time, still at the conventions, and you have to. One is like, how did it do the wooden leg? How did they film the wooden leg? What do you do with it? Questions around that, which is understandable. And I have to remember that when people ask me that, they're asking it for the first time, so I have to answer it. Because sometimes you think, my God, after 8 years, I don't want to answer that again. But it's a totally understandable question. In fact, when I was doing an Outlander convention, a Comic Con recently in Wales, I met a couple of actors from Star Trek who I absolutely Star Trek Strange New Worlds that I absolutely love, Ethan Peck and Anson Mount. And I was peppering Ethan with questions. I was like, where do you put your hands? Because they don't have pockets.
Yeah.
In their Star Trek costumes, and probably asking them all the questions that fans ask them. But anyway, so this is, and I get asked that, what was that stuffed cabbage line all about? And I didn't really remember what the scene was about, but clearly, Ian is, as usual, feeling, a little bit uncomfortable, and wanting to keep the peace. And the scene finished on the script. The scene finished where, what's the line before I speak?
Let's watch it again. It's such a great scene. I'm just so surprised.
It's such a great scene. This is actually making me think that I need to start watching Outlander.
I
forgot how good it is.
I really feel like you should. I've seen you tweet about some episodes you've heard about.
Yeah. What, the one where Jamie gets wanked back to life by Claire?
Oh.
I mean, surely.
Yes. I mean, she is
Drowned.
committed. She's a healer, after all.
She really is.
Stuffed cabbage, Claire.
No, thank you.
Tell me
No,
something.
thank you.
Why does it look like somebody might be laughing right there?
I mean, that is funny. I think you actually can pick that up, because so the scene, who speaks just before me?
I think Jenny says, "Suit yourself then."
Right.
Yeah.
You're in a fight.
And so basically the way filming works, Jenny, so in the script, it's like, Jenny, suit yourself. And when you're filming the scene, whatever that is, Laura says her last line, and then there's normally always about 2 or 3 seconds of they continue to let the cameras roll before they shout cut, just in case, something happens or whatever. But probably in this case, because there's obviously an awkward atmosphere, so they want to keep it.
Mhm.
And on this take in particular, I just randomly decided to pick that up and ask Claire if she wanted stuffed cabbage, deliberately, purely and utterly, only to try and make Caitríona laugh, which she manages. I find it so funny. She says, "No, thank you." That almost makes it even better.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh my gosh, she's in this new house, her new husband's house, and she's like, "I don't want your stupid stuffed cabbage."
And I honestly, I don't know if I'd ever heard of stuffed cabbage in my life before
really?
that.
Oh, no,
but
that's good.
apparently it is actually a thing. Stuffed cabbage is real. People have told me since. But in a show like Outlander, it's impossible to improvise. You're not allowed to throw in extra lines. You're not allowed to really change your lines. So the fact that this stayed in it is actually my proudest moment of everything I've done.
I think it's phenomenal. One of the fans said that Caitríona tweeted out, "This is why actors shouldn't be allowed to ad-lib."
Yeah, no. Although after she says no thank you, it does look like she's about to laugh, because guaranteed, as soon as they shout,
you can see her laughing, guys. Look at
yeah,
this.
look, you can look.
Let's just watch this one last time.
No, thank you.
She's laughing. She is laughing. But you know,
I
these
love
two, props to Sam and Laura here, because the
Total
Freezer
straight faces.
siblings are so angry. They don't give a shit about stuffed cabbage.
Caitríona, and many fans won't know this, I'm sure. In season 1, in that episode, I think, when we go up and we're both standing on the hallway and we're talking about a painting, and I kind of tell her a story about Jamie when he was a wee boy or something. Like, I'm kind of giving her some I'm kind of teaching her about who Jamie is. I can't remember the lines in the scene at all now, but when the camera was on Caitríona, she couldn't look. Like, I had taken the piss or made her laugh too much to the point where she couldn't take me seriously. So when the camera was on her, I kind of had to stand and not looking directly at her, because if she caught my eye, she just started laughing.
I love that. It's good.
I just love that we have that moment of her laughing. So this,
I mean, that is brilliant.
Best work. This is
Yeah,
your
it
best
is
work,
brilliant.
100%.
Yeah, you know why it's so good as well? Because they're having this argument, and then Ian's like, "Hey, like it's just really normal kind of what families do. Hey, you want the stuffed cabbage?" It's just like very
Actually, that's the thing. Even though I was doing it to take the piss, they probably kept it in because it makes sense. Because it's like there has been a family argument, and it's like, no, you, Reshma, you, Robert, everyone can off. And then a sort of silence and like, olives, anyone? So, like,
pass me the bread. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll pick the bread.
It makes sense.
Oh, I love it. Okay, this next clip, Steven, you're so good at this. I actually want you to continue watching Outlander and live tweet it. I would
think
just
you should. You'd be
genuinely
so
enjoy that.
Don't you think, by the way, this guy looks like, I always thought he was a brilliant actor. Lovely, lovely, lovely guy. I always thought he looked like Robin Williams.
He
so
does. I was just trying to place oh my gosh.
Like
He
a sort of
really
young
does.
Robin Williams.
Look at that. Okay, this scene is a guy named Forex, and it's like a real hero moment for Ian. Here we go.
Kid, you leave my dinner to this. The British Army don't take kindly to those who harbour outlaws. The prison's no place for decent folk. I'm sure you'd agree. I thought I killed my last man in the war.
I'm grateful. If you hadn't done it, I've done it myself.
The man was an absconder, a traitor, and a thief.
He wasn't one.
All right. So Ian's big moment. You know, it's interesting how Jamie's like, thanks, I would have done it if you hadn't.
Yeah. That's Jamie though, isn't it? Or Sam. I was, kind of play it cool, play it casual. You notice again there, actually, that I remember when I listened to that as well. When I say that, something is 100% something, because they basically edited a bit out of the scene. I had more dialogue and they cut a bit out. Something has been done to the speed, because when I say the man is an absconder and a thief, my voice goes about 1,500 octaves higher than usual. The man was an absconder and a thief, and I go into total. I'm like total Alvin the Chipmunk. Like any sort of heroism that might have been portrayed there is completely diluted by the fact that it sounds like I've got my balls stuck in the mouth of a beaver or something like that. I don't know. and not deliberately.
That is exactly what I thought would be said in this interview. You know,
Yeah.
Annette said musky little hussy to us. And she also asked Robert what he does with his breasts. And I was like, there's no way
Yeah.
Steve will top that, but you just did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Balls in the mouth of a beaker.
I personally found your voice to be charmingly low and husky and masculine,
Very.
but that's just
Oh,
me.
thank you.
Very,
Thank you, Robert. Thank you.
very soothing.
Do you know what? There is something as well. Somebody asked me, I was at a convention in Kansas last year, and they asked me something like, I don't know, like what, it was a question like, what do you think you've been worst at? What have you seen yourself in that you think you were the worst you've ever, something like that.
Wow.
And I was like, look, it's hard to, most things that you see yourself in as an actor, it's hard to be objective because you just see yourself so differently and it's such a weird process. But I definitely, you know, when I say that scene, people really, really like that scene and they'll still bring it up to me at conventions. And I see it now and I just think, to me, I just feel like I can see myself really acting. I don't feel like if I did that now, you know, it's like I hate to sound pretentious, but like any art, I suppose maybe an artist would look at a painting and 8 years on think, yeah, I could do that differently or do it better. I don't know. I just think I'm a better actor now than I was then. I know different things. I've grown up a bit. I've done it more. And it was really, really hard. On the day I had an argument with Metin, the director, on how to do it. And I love Metin and he was right. But I wasn't sure if I would be able to, you know, kind of, because the script bit was quite short, and to try and get into the gear of being in shock and trying to convey everything that we wanted to convey, and they cut a bit, but I think the scene was actually better. But there was a bit of dialogue where after I've said that, you know, I say something like, you know, I've led a good life. I'm married to a wonderful woman. You know, I don't ever want to go to war again, but and something that's like with you've come back here, Jamie, and he basically says something else where he's like, I don't want to do this. You know, I thought I'd killed my last man, but actually, like, I'm so hampered by, you know, by having one leg now. There is a bit of me that, and they cut that section out of it, which I think, you know, it's up to them. But I thought the scene was better. Like it was more, it gave you more of an insight into what he was thinking, and also,
we're in mid-sentence.
It changed my performance. Like they did that that film that I did in Estonia as well, The Twin. There were moments in that in the beginning where you got a real insight to what was going on in my character, and they cut all those moments because they wanted you to not know what was going on as part of the story. Which I understand, but then it completely and utterly altered my performance. And so as an actor with all these things, you've just got zero control over any of that. You don't know what's going to end up in the edit and what's going to end up on the cutting room floor. But you know what? I'm not that. Also, you have to remember that it's not me. They're not making it for me. They're making it for the audience, and the audience watching that, especially back then, they had no idea who I am. They're watching it very, very differently. But yeah, I watch that now and I just think I've done some really bad acting there. But that's
but I have to say, like, the Outlander audience, especially, I think when the show ends, they should just release like the unedited episodes or like extended episodes, because that is such an important part of Ian's character that I think would have actually played really well. Like the more Outlander content, the happier they are. So
listen, I'm sure there'll be reams of it. Are people excited though about Blood? What's it called? Blood of My Blood?
it seems like, so I think because the news came down, just what I'm seeing online, because the news came with the end of Outlander 2, I think people are reticent, and you know, they love Sam and Caitríona so much, and they know that they're not going to be part of the new show. I think there is some reticence there, but I think it's like more Outlander content, and they get 2 more years of you know, the original Outlander. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just being in that same world. It's like Star Trek and all the other, it'll be like a franchise. It's better to be in that world and they're still making stories in it, and hopefully people will get excited about it. I certainly will watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this next scene, guys, is another one. I hope you don't think you sound like a chipmunk with I don't think you do. I think you sound like
when I went back for season 7 there, I deliberately was like, Jamie, everything I was saying, I was trying to sound as deep as I possibly could.
you sound like Batman.
So good.
I was. My voice has changed over the seasons.
Okay, here we go.
What's your planning? Claire! Claire! What do you intend to do?
I intend to get my husband back.
Well, you can't go alone. Allow me a moment to gather my strength and I'll accompany you.
You can't go anywhere in your condition. You're missing your leg.
I'll fashion another one. You're not...
You're missing your leg.
How did you get through that scene?
I am laughing at that particular because Caitríona still speaks about that to this. That when we were back on it, back when I was back on Outlander recently, she was speaking about it as well. You know, when we were rehearsing the scene and then in the filming of it, there were so many times where she just burst out laughing because it was just. It's almost like she's trying to avoid it, and she's like, "You're injured. You can't go anywhere." And you don't have a leg, Ian. It's like
it's really simple. Yeah.
I want to be polite about this.
You're missing your leg.
You're missing your. It's just delivered so perfectly.
Oh,
you're missing your leg.
I mean,
he's like, what? Am I?
Yeah, because what is it? Did somebody steal my wooden leg?
Yeah, I think you and Jamie, I had to rewatch a little last night, and you and Jamie get attacked and he gets taken. And
that's right.
They your leg, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
Like, this is not funny. I'm not laughing at you missing your leg, but it's just like, I love how she states the obvious.
Oh, it's so good.
It's just
so funny. It's
so brilliant. Oh, God.
It's so well delivered.
It really is.
God.
Do you remember, was it hard in that moment to film that and actually for her to get through that, or did it take?
Oh, no, it was 100%. Like, totally 100%. I sort of actually probably, because Caitríona also is so like, Caitríona's just British. She's so up for a laugh, and Caitríona's great as well of being, she can absolutely be having a laugh and stuff. And then when it gets into the scene, she can turn on the emotion, or bring the tears, or bring what's ever needed, but always keeps it is always up for having fun, I think, and just like being playing, I think, because ultimately you're still like acting as we're playing. You're going to, and sometimes it's it is a job as well, but the more you can kind of keep it playful and keep all that sense of fun with it, I actually think sometimes you get better results. Like when I'm really tense and I'm trying to, I find that it's just sometimes you get better performances the more loose you are.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, it's so important to enjoy where you're working and what you're doing every day. Okay, this is when you return to the show in season 3 and Eve and Claire alive for the first time. And it takes place in a brothel. So here we go.
Of course, as I requested.
Ian.
Ian.
Claire.
It's so good to see you.
It's you, us. We thought you were.
I know what Jamie told you. He thought I'd died in the aftermath of Culloden.
Jenny and I, we grieved over you for years. Claire believed me to be dead as well. It was a terrible misunderstanding that kept us apart. Where on earth have you been all this time?
Boston. I sailed there, and I thought that Jamie had died. I would have returned sooner, but I just recently discovered he was alive.
That's when she came back to find me. And I'm more than happy she did. What brings you here?
They're so bad at lying. Like they're really, really not good at it.
No, I know. I remember wondering that at the time where he doesn't, I mean, like you just have to obviously say what's written in the script, but realistically, you'd be like, are you talking complete shit?
I don't believe this.
Ian's like, where have you been? And she's
smell
like, Boston. Yeah, Boston.
Okay, right, okay.
But, you know, one of the things is you have like a single tear running down your cheek. You had to do an emotional scene in a brothel. What was that like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's the stuff of dreams. This is actually one of my favorite scenes.
Me too.
Actually, like absolutely. And I think I had so when we did that scene, I had him up before we, you know, when we were going in, I was looking at the scene in the night before thinking about it. And I thought, right, okay, when did we film that? Say we filmed that in like 2016 or something. I thought, who have I not seen for that length of time? I was like, my aunt died in 1999. So I hadn't seen her for like 17 years. And I thought, if my aunt suddenly showed up right now, I mean, probably I would faint, because actually I knew for a fact it was a bit different from this, but you know, there was no doubting that she had died, but still you kind of think, and I was like, I think you would be in some kind of shock or emotion. And actually, fun enough, but I normally don't. I just I got asked a question yesterday at the Diplomat about my process or something, and I said I don't like talking about how I get to the process. So I've just actually I've completely gone back on myself, but this is a bit different because it was so long ago. And so when you don't necessarily, it wasn't written in the script at all. That basically the script was the lines, and then he wanted to find Ian. And I was like, it's surely this scene is about the fact that he's just seen Claire again. And when we did it, and on that take, I didn't know what was going to happen. I got upset, and I started, you know, a tear came out. And I remember Caitríona and Sam saying afterwards, they were like, "Oh, fucking hell, like we didn't realize this. We're going to have to like get into acting gear here now that you know, because then the camera turned around onto them." And the director came over and she was like, "Look, I think we're going to have to go again, because on the wide shot where it's all of us, she said you weren't as emotional. So I think we should do one where you're less emotional so that it can match up." And I was like, I really, really, really disagree. And she said, no, because your main focus here is getting Ian. Your main focus is you want to get Ian, and you want to, and I was like, no. I was like, listen, in the script, I know that it says that, but I've been in the show since season 1, and I don't want to argue. I don't want to overrule you. I know the character better than you, and this is a reaction. I was, to be honest, you should probably give me a few more lines to process this and actually, you know, be a little bit more realistic about it maybe. But the fact that I actually turn around and say, okay, I'm just off again, is a bit ridiculous. There's no way that would happen.
Well, the reason I stopped the video is because I was so like blown away by the fact that they just moved on from that. I was like, wait, this is like a sister to him, and she's alive. Like,
yeah,
this is mind blowing. It's life changing. So I, you know, I no disrespect to anyone, but I'm team you on that.
No, and also no disrespect to the director of that episode either. But sometimes, like, not like what happens is as well. I will always, if you know, I will never normally stand my ground like that. But the thing is, if you then do film it again, you give them the option in the edit to use the other one. And I just said, look, I really don't want to, because I think that's why would you not want to use the scene with emotion? And when the episode came out, there was a review and something, and Caitríona sent me the review of it, and it was about that episode, and it just really, really highlighted that moment as
The standout.
you know, and it's, listen, you shouldn't reviews whatever, but by the same token, I kind of felt, you know, people have brought it up a lot at the conventions as well, and it felt I felt validated, because you also want to, you know, you want to service. I always like, I care about Ian Murray as well, so you want to service the character the best that you can, and service the story the best that you can.
Show, the narrative, like,
and
you're
the
not
show,
being selfish.
completely.
That scene, I will always remember it as one of my favorites, because it reminded me, when I'm in that moment, it just, sometimes Outlander gets from point A to point Z because they have to get the story out. And then sometimes we get to pause and just really immerse ourselves in the emotion of the moment. We don't get it as often perhaps as we could, especially when the seasons are truncated. And this moment was like reminding me how important that relationship was, because you just forget, you know, you're in the moment of other things. It's such a good moment. I can't believe that I thought that was in the script. I thought that's just how you just played it how it was supposed to be done.
Well, they obviously cut it for time, right? I mean,
Look, so like totally, sometimes they do, and that is a problem. I'm glad that stayed in, and because also your job as an actor is to bring stuff to the script that isn't necessarily there. You know, the script is the template, and then hopefully, you know, it's like you color it in and add things to it. So
one thing I wanted to say about them saying, oh, we have to act, that actually is a pretty notorious blooper.
By the way, that's that's the thought. I'm not saying that they don't. Sam and Caitríona are amazing. I didn't know I was
being able to act in, like, they show that very wide shot you're talking about, and I think that the two of them just start laughing. And I was going to ask you, because they've talked about that blooper. I've seen it in some of the reels, and she just starts laughing at everything. They do say that you bring a lot of levity onto set and chaos. In fact, someone said that you stole someone's pants. What?
That's the best. You know, yeah. People ask people quite often ask, like, who's the biggest prankster, or what's the biggest trick you've pulled on set? And to be honest, no, you just don't have time. These shows and on set, they move at such a pace, and if people were doing tricks or stuff all the time, people would get pissed off. I actually think on that, funnily enough, I don't necessarily really know what the producers think of me, but I certainly got the feeling, like in the first few seasons, because I do, like, in between scenes and stuff on that, I will have a laugh, I will joke about, but the second you call action, I know my lines backwards. I've always done all my work. I'm completely prepared. Like, I'm totally professional. I just have a laugh as well. But I think sometimes, I wondered if sometimes that wasn't appreciated, you know, because not everyone likes to work like that. But I think
when they talk about it, they seem very happy. Like, I
think the actors. I think the actors don't mind. More like the producers. I'm not entirely sure, but so there's a guy called Ryan Fletcher, lovely guy from Glasgow. He was in whatever season it was where I'm about to get arrested by the Redcoats and taken away. I think it was season 3, because I think Laura was there. And one of the Redcoats is Corporal somebody who, in that episode, Jamie drowns in a pond.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So it was November in Scotland. It was freezing. I finished early, and I got back to the trailers, and I saw Ryan's trailer. So I went in and just thought, I'm just going to hide his clothes so that when he gets back, he thinks his clothes are missing. But then and so I put them in really random places. So I was putting them behind the toilet, like up high in cupboards, in little nooks and crannies that you wouldn't normally look for, so that his trailer looked completely empty. I went to the makeup, got my wig off and stuff, and then I came back out, and it was dark now, and the trailers had all gone. And I was like, where have the trailers gone? And they said they were taking them back to Glasgow. And we were filming about maybe an hour away from Glasgow. And I was like, okay, what about Ryan's trailer? And they said, yeah, Ryan's trailer's gone. And I said, did you check it? And they said, yeah, it was completely empty. And I said, no, it was full of Ryan's clothes. And they were like, well, it's in Glasgow. I said, where is Ryan? And he said, he's up in the hills right now. He's been in the freezing cold water all day, being drowned by Sam. And I was like, oh, fuck. So Ryan came back to set, utterly freezing and just desperate to get into his clothes. And the second AD, I had to come up to him and say, look, I'm so sorry, but Steven Cree had all your clothes and they're now in Glasgow. So we're basically going to have to give you a dressing gown. And this was the best bit, a pair of Crocs, like Crocs for your feet.
Yeah.
So he was pretty annoyed, but fortunately he took it in fairly good faith. But the best part for me was he said when he got home, because he didn't have his keys, he didn't have his keys or anything, and he rang the bell for his apartment, and his girlfriend opened the door, and he was standing there in a dressing gown and a pair of Crocs.
What did you do to that man? Oh my God.
But you know what? Ryan actually karmically got the last laugh, because 3 or 4 years later or something, we both auditioned for that TV series Pennyworth. Mm-hmm. And there was a part in it that was between me and him, and they chose Ryan. So, he got his own back in the end.
It's karma, right? I love that. Yeah. Okay. In this one, I'm gonna go to. So the reason I'm showing this first one because you have a scene with Jenny that's in reaction to this. So I just want some Cree commentary on this, so you can tell me when to pause if you have anything to say. Here we go. Before I play this, do you know, I was thinking about the Jamie and Ian friendship. There is a book that Diana wrote called Virgins.
Yeah, I've got it.
Oh, is it good?
It's when they were younger.
Yeah. I love that she called it Virgins. Just such a call.
Yeah. There was something, I'm sure, like when I was meant to go back and do season 5, but I was on Discovery of Witches and I couldn't do it. They had already written the storyline, and the storyline, I think, it alluded to like a flashback from Virgins. Like Sam and I were going to play each other like a little bit younger, I think. I'm pretty sure that was it.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Here we go.
Lying with you, taking your body, holding my bayonet. God, I could kill you for it.
But I don't have to imagine Leary.
Leary? I don't care about Leary, and I never have.
So you would marry a woman you don't even want and then just discard her the second you're done?
I'm damned one way or the other. If I felt anything for her, I'm a faithless lecher, and if I didn't, I'm a heartless beast.
Well, you should have told me.
And if I had, you would have turned on your heel and left without a word. But having seen you again, I would do far worse than lie to keep you.
Wow. Oh, goodness, what is going on here?
It's just a
So
Tuesday
Claire
night.
just learned that Jamie married Leary while she was gone for 20 years. Did not go down well.
How does this scene end though? It's Outlander pushes the boundaries, doesn't it?
It really does. Wait for this ending.
Oh God, I just don't. I hate filming sex scenes. They're horrific.
Stop it!
Oh, they're so embarrassed. Oh, what's...
Fighting and rutting like wild beasts and no caring if the whole house hears you.
I love it.
What an epic water drop she did there.
Go
And then-
on, Jenny.
Yeah, she just, and then Claire's like, this is awkward, and runs out. What did you think of that scene? Because your reaction to it is next.
Right, firstly, it's interesting in dramas and stuff, and it must it must happen, but have you ever been in a situation where you're fighting like that with your partner, and then 1.5 seconds later you're having sex? I don't know, does that does it?
I don't feel like that happens. I think
Maybe it's but
Like,
listen,
the makeup
that's
sex
drama.
happens later.
it's drama, you just
Yeah, I guess you just cut to the chase. It's also interesting though, because it's always what I think was great about Outlander, and what was great in season 1 as well. It was always Claire asserts, takes the power, and it was all from the season 1 in particular. It was all from the female gaze, which I remember was a big, critically was a huge, I think, component of the show being successful. That it was, even though there's a lot of sex in Outlander, it's a very sexy show. It was kind of seen from the female gaze for a change, as opposed to just be from the male point of view. I have to say, they've done they did a brilliant job of making that work. That's really, really hard to do that stuff as an actor, and I was, it's completely convincing as well.
It also seems a little painful when they fell off the bed on the ground and then get hit by water. I just wonder.
So well choreographed.
Yeah, I just wonder how many takes that took, because that did not seem like you'd want to do that.
I mean, if I tried to do that now at this age, I would dislocate my shoulder.
Easily.
I would pull my knee. I
mean, just let's look at the fall here.
Bang.
Ow.
Yeah,
I mean, and it looked like it was them and not their stunt doubles, to be honest.
Yeah, no, they may have fallen on. To be fair, they would have put down something soft under them, but still, you can't really. They've cheated that really well. It looks really convincing.
I would have really enjoyed playing the role of Jenny, just throwing water at them. That's just enjoyable. All right, and then the one right after is what Ian says. So let me show you this. There we go. Ian yells at Jenny, which we don't see very often, and I think the fans love this scene, so that's why I'm playing it.
If my mother was still alive, this would kill her all over again.
Jamie's retired to the stables, and Janet's giving Claire blankets in the guest chamber.
This doesn't bother you? Him laying with both wives?
He and Lady are not living as man and wife, and you ken it.
He makes a fool of his family.
You're the only one being foolish. If there's a pot of shite on to boil, you stir like it's God's work.
This is my fault then?
Do you forget I hear your prayers every night? All you ask for is Jamie's happiness after all the sorrows he's seen. And here he is. But you can't let him have it.
Does this look like happiness to you?
You're just so disappointed in her at the end there.
I think it's really what season is this? Season 3.
This is season 3. And then I just remembered when you were talking about Jamie in the water with the pants, that was season 1, I believe. That was season 1 that happened.
Right. I've gone back into chipmunk voice a little bit there. But you might notice that I'm about I don't know what in the US you do pounds, we do stones over here, but I was about 18 pounds lighter when I did season 3 or something. Like, I can see it in my face there. Yeah. I think it's really important that when we got the scripts in, I was really pleased to see that they'd put a scene in just with Jenny and Ian, because obviously you never get to see that on the show. And so you always do the read through, and we did the read through before we started filming, and then we got the new scripts out, and they cut that scene from the new scripts. So I went to Matt Roberts and I said, look, why have they cut that scene? Because sometimes they just cut things because the scripts are too long. And I was like, I think it's really, really important to have that scene in. And also, you never get a glimpse into what they're like when they're on their own. And for the most part, in front of Claire and Jamie, Ian's being pretty subservient. But I was like, this is actually great, because you see that Ian isn't just a complete pushover. And even though he always wants to keep the peace, and he's calm, and he doesn't really lose his temper as much, actually, when he has to, he's happy to kind of, like, he's not scared to tell Jenny,
I know.
you're actually, like you're kind of shooting, you're kind of cutting off your nose to spite your face. Here. And that's a good line. Yeah, that's a line that people say quite a lot as well. It's something about a boil.
Putting your shite where, hold on, let me just.
You always know how to shite in a kettle and then drink it or something like that.
It's just such a good line too.
Yeah, you know
like,
how to. If there's a pot of shite on to boil, you stir it like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's so perfect.
It's great.
Yeah, I just think Ian and Jenny are just Steve. So were you team Jamie and Claire in that scene, or team Jenny? Like, do you think she should have not thrown the water?
Yeah, team Jamie and Claire. Let them frolic. Let them procreate.
Leave them alone.
They could have procreated then. They were still. Claire was still
their
fertile.
body, their choice.
Listen, did they have children? Oh, Brianna. No.
They did. And then in season 2, which you haven't watched, I don't think.
Yeah.
Or maybe you did.
No.
I think she was pregnant, but then she miscarried.
That's right. Yeah.
So and here they could have had a third, but Jenny and her water.
Yeah.
Real Claire blocker there.
Lallybroch is a very fertile place, clearly.
Oh yeah.
Lallybroch. That's genius. Okay, so those are all the scenes we have. I do want to pull something that the fans have asked me to ask you about, because we're going to get into fan questions. So there is a clip of you at an event. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but I know what the clip is. Here we go. And you make an entrance onto stage. So let's wait for it. You full body jumped onto Sam, and it looks like you almost put Sophie out there too, if we look at the slow-mo here. And so was this premeditated? Do you want to talk a little bit about this? They're really wondering about it.
Oh, sorry, I've just dropped my AirPods.
Oh,
no, it was probably I clearly am just like a massive attention seeker, and I think like at the cons as well, at the conventions, you like I've built up like a great rapport with Sam anyway, and we got on like we're really, really good friends, and when we've done the conventions together, I think for him, me being there for him also gives him the opportunity to show his. Because Sam's really fun. Sam's got a great sense of humor as well, but he's a very different role in the show and a very different relationship with the fans. And I think I probably just in the heat of the moment thought I'm going to, because I always try and at the conventions kind of push the boundaries a bit and be as entertaining and be as outrageous as I possibly can within the realms of not offending anyone. Like, not everyone loves conventions are not everyone loves. I think you know, being on the stage in front of the fans and stuff, but it definitely brings out the entertainer side of me. And I also completely, like, to be honest as well, I see it absolutely as part of my job when I'm at and I love it. It's not a hardship, but when I'm at the conventions, I want the fans to go home at the end of the weekend and feel like they've been really, really entertained, and feel like we've connected with them all. And I just, you know, it's obviously like it went. Don't get me wrong, I saw some people on Twitter, obviously, some people got a little bit offended or thought that I'd, you know, properly injured Sam, or they kind of take it a little bit too seriously. But it's hopefully it's moment.
I think your jump, like, you get so much air there, just like great form, like 10 out of 10.
Sam's face at that point as it's frozen is just so great.
And poor Sophie, look at you. You really almost that was almost the end of her life. She saw it flash.
It could have been it could have been bad for Sam, actually. It could have been painful, but he
really
enjoyed it.
He really embraced you afterwards. So I think, you know, by and large, you seem to have really enjoyed it.
He's like, Sam's a big guy and he's strong. I knew he would be able to take it.
Take the weight. Did you do like a running start? It looked like it.
Yeah, there were stairs just off the side, and I think I'm always at the conventions at the opening ceremony. I think I go one of two ways. If I'm weirdly, even for me, sometimes if I feel a little bit shy at the start of the event, I'll just come on and sort of quietly get into it. But I think at that one, it was really busy and it was really raucous. And I think because Sam and Caitríona were both there, the crowds were really up for it. And, you know, also as well, I think I kind of really quickly established myself at the conventions as the Joker. So I know that it's almost like they're always waiting for me to say the rude thing or the unexpected thing. Yes. So it's almost like it's coming. You know it's coming, but then when it does, it's like it's still satisfying.
I love it. In season 7, if you don't like do a running jump and attack all of us, I'm gonna be disappointed. Couldn't put it right.
Again, I don't know if my body could take it now. That was a few years ago. I don't know if Sam can.
All right, so this last clip before we get to the fan questions is never before seen. I found it, Steven, from the Outlander premiere in February. My camera person, I was on the red carpet right next to where you were at one point. And
the red carpet event that Sam told me you didn't have to dress up for it, and I went in my leather jacket.
Oh yeah,
that's shirt.
What I had sent you the clip, but I don't know if the fans have seen it. Should we play it? Should we let them see it?
Yeah.
Learning what it's like on set life, and learning to work with a great crew, a great cast. Not all of them great. Some of them were not so great. It's hard, you know. You have to learn to work with really bad actors, or just people that just don't know. You look. Oh, hi. How are you, mate? No, we're just saying it's so good to have. We have such a great cast. Everyone's been fantastic.
Yeah, Sam
over the 6
told
years.
Me how to dress tonight.
Yeah, you dress well. You look great.
Thanks for that memo. Smart casual.
I said go Scottish, Scotch with leather jackets. Yeah. That's kind of how I like to dress.
Well, you are the ruler of Rachel's Road, so you kind of can give people directions.
Yeah. I did say hot pants, but he didn't get the memo. So.
No, I think you said no pants.
No pants. No, it's been such a great journey, and you know.
So my camera person got that. I thought people would enjoy seeing you just roll into this interview.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I turned up to it, and you know, Sam's dressed immaculately, and I think Richard had done a tux, and everyone just, and I look like I look like I've just rolled in off the street.
I mean,
that was the haircut.
Look at those. You seem so mad at him right there. That's just fantastic. You always deliver on the red carpet. Okay, should we get to some, you know, we can't say too much about season 7, obviously, but you know, we do have a few questions that Robert's going to get to in one sec. But before we do that, I On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited were your co-stars to have you back? And also, I'm just going to name a few. One being, it'll be fun. Don't worry. It's not an actual scale. And then tell me some, like, one thing that you love working with the person who I'm going to say that, something you love working about them, or, a story you might have. Let's start with John Bell, your TV son.
And John is just full of amazing energy and positivity, and like he's such a he totally brings any days that I've filmed with him, he brings complete sunshine all the time. You see that at the conventions as well. John and he's so comfortable in his own skin, and completely and utterly owns who he is for something from such a young age. I think he's just like, I'm very, very fond of him. And sorry, I thought I had something shouting to me there. I'm very, very fond of him, and he's just like he's such a joy to be around. Like he really is you can see that, and you see him at the conventions, and I'm sure at the red carpet events and stuff as well. So it's just any of the times that I've got to film with him, he's just completely and utterly entertaining all the time. And yeah, he's a really, really great guy.
Yeah, I love that. Do you want to rate, like, on a scale of 1 to 10? Was he like 10?
Oh, 10, definitely 10 with John, 100%, 10, absolutely.
Right. Let's take Sam. How excited was he when you came back on set? 1 to 10.
Probably a 1. I think.
It's like, oh, hell, here he comes again.
Yeah. Maybe like a sort of solid 5 or something. I don't know. I think he was like, I think he was probably quite, he's probably quite excited and looking forward to it. But it was, it was great, and that was when getting to film with Sam and Caitríona and John again were like the exciting thing about going back, because in season 4, obviously when I went back, it was great to get to film with Sophie, but the show for me had always been with Jamie and Claire, and latterly John as well. So I think, and because we have, like, Sam and I have become like really good friends outside of the show as well, probably he felt the same. So it wasn't like, certainly for me, it didn't feel like going to work. It felt like going back and like hanging out with some friends. And also I know a lot of the crew as well, and putting on the costume, putting on the wig, and we've, a lot of us happen to the characters, and there's a lot of, bittersweetness, and a lot as we've, as people have grown a lot and gone through a lot. Like when I first filmed with John, I wasn't a dad. I am a dad now in real life, and so that brought something different to my understanding of the relationship and of the script, and also with Sam as well. We've both just matured and grown up as people, and so you're able to do the scene both as Ian and Jamie and everything they've gone through, but also like the experiences that we've gone through, and brought that to the table as well. But there wasn't the song and dance and a fanfare of trumpets greeting me as I might have hoped. Yeah. It was a little bit more like,
hey,
you're back. Okay.
Okay, Caitríona, 1 to 10, and then something like working with about her.
10, absolutely 10. I mean, it's just like, as I said earlier, she's just so such again, also like a great energy and set, really good fun. She's very intelligent as well, and really cares about the material, and cares about the show, like her and Sam both do, and they've been on it for a long time. And it's I think it's important, but can be hard as well, because that's a lot. You know, they film long hours for 8 or 9 months of the year. It's it's obviously a privilege and it's a great pleasure to be on the show, but it's hard. It's hard work as well. And I never had a day on set with Caitríona where we didn't have a lot of fun. But then when the cameras roll as well, she's always completely and utterly on it. So it's and what for both of them as well. But I mean, for all of us really. But obviously, Sam and Caitríona have become such big stars from it as well. When that show started, it was Sam was completely unknown. I think Caitríona was on the cusp of giving up acting. So it's been an amazing, incredible journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I think Sam probably was like a 12. He was that excited to see you, but he's playing it at a 5.
Yeah, he probably kept
And that's
it.
okay.
Kept it really.
Probably kept it in. Yeah. It's because Sam is so busy. Sam's got so many different things going on. I don't know if he's got the capacity to be a 10 even for me.
You'll see. Okay, so let's do some fan questions. Robert, you want to kick it off with yours, and then I'll get to
Sure. Okay. So Jody would like to know how it feels to have better hair than Sam Heughan. Kind of rude.
I mean, that's the 10. That's a 10. Anyone that knows me, and I mean anyone that knows me, and even people that don't know me that well, know that I have got an absolute and utter obsession about my hair and about hair in general. I mean, I kicked off this whole interview by complimenting your fantastic hairline, Robert. So there we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
There's the Ian wig.
The wig.
Yeah. Who do you think has the better wig, you or Sam?
Sam.
Even in season 4, which you might not know, but this is season 4 wig.
Me.
Yeah, that's really ugly.
Me.
Yeah. I mean, he can't look. I mean, you guys said he was beautiful in season 1, so
he still is.
Everyone has an
option. Do you know what? He still rocks that wig. Not many people could pull that wig off, but I think Sam does.
I think he did.
Does still manage to, but no, I have a terrible obsession about my hair that drives my wife insane.
I think we're similar in that way, because my wife's like, "When are you cutting your hair?" I'm like, "After I've interviewed Steven Cree. I told you 2 years ago."
It's time to release the bun. I'm just wondering.
I will at the end, and
okay.
Reveal. I wanted to be in slow motion. All right.
Yeah.
Mine's okay. Yeah.
I'm noticing, I noticed yesterday that this never used to be there, so I think I'm starting. Anyway, it's a whole other story.
No, you're not. You're not, Robert. Trust me.
Well. You're doing well. You're both doing well. I really think.
I think your hair looks really good right now, Stephen.
10 out of 10 for
Thanks, Robert. Thank you, Robert. I think your hair looks amazing.
Well, let's talk offline. We'll just talk all day about our hair.
I think Jody is trying to start a little bit of a fight here.
She wants a fight, and I don't know.
Okay, next one.
All right. I'll go. Okay. Now that Sam and Caitríona are executive producers.
Wait, just say who, Robert, just say who said it.
Elle is asking this question. So they're both EPs now. Is it different on set? Do they boss you around more? Do you want them to boss you around more? What's the story?
No, it wasn't any. It wasn't any different at all. It's a truthful answer to that. No. If they maybe I should have demanded a pay rise or something. I don't know if they have that kind of. I don't know if they have that kind of clout now in hindsight. Maybe I should have been like, "Come on, guys!" But no, there was. Didn't feel any different.
Okay.
That's amazing. That's amazing to go through. Start with people when they are babies on a show, and now they're executive producers, and it says a lot about them and that show.
Completely. Yeah. It's amazing.
Absolutely. All right. A lot of people have asked, and apparently there's a screenshot of Sam looking very excited. But will there be any more episodes of Heughan Talks? #Heughan Talks.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like it's run its course.
Played out.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like, I mean, I hope that I will never stop not taking myself too seriously on social media and stuff. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think there was a time I was about to do it again. I can't remember what it was. I kind of set it up and then I thought, I don't feel the same. I don't feel the same zest for it. But look, there's more chance of Heughan talks happening than Star Force. So
Okay. Good to know.
Star Wars was like a real moment in time. It was for the pandemic. You know,
yeah.
we couldn't leave our
Heughan talks could happen again. The funniest thing again about Heughan talks is two funny things. One, that's despite the fact that Sam actually did one of them, there are still some fans sometimes or some people that, you know, will comment on Twitter that I only do it because I'm jealous of Sam or something, or like it's being cruel to Sam. And I think they slightly sort of missed the point that it's completely and utterly done like out of total fondness.
Yeah.
But
it's part of the culture to take the piss.
And he plays along.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
yeah, but it's also, it's not like I'm not taking the piss out of him either. It's not in a sort of like, I'm not poking fun at Sam. If anything, it just sort of like, you know, I think it's you know, I mean, okay, I know that it's a shot of him naked or something, but he is and some people actually think, some people have said, I've noticed, have commented and been like, oh my God, his impression of Sam is perfect. And I'm like, what? I sound like some sort of like bizarre squawking Irish pirate. And I'm like, it doesn't, it deliberately
Beaver's mouth as well. Like
yeah, completely, exactly.
Wait, are they talking about
is not meant
when talks? Like your impression?
Yeah, like when I do.
Oh, hello and welcome to another episode of Heughan Talks. Me, your host with the most, Sam Heughan.
I mean, when I'm recording it, I probably make like that. I'm making the strangest faces trying to get that sound.
Join me on the sofa this week. It's Graham and Tavish.
And it's like, it sounds nothing like Sam at all. But people say, oh my God, he's so good at imitating Sam. Like, what?
That's not what he sounds like. I actually agree with your assessment. You sound like a pirate.
Yeah.
Like an actual pirate.
Like
okay, Robert, your next one.
Okay. I have one more, and I might ask a couple of my own after Reshma has.
Oh, sure, go for it.
So the Scousanash, it's a great name.
I think it's Scousanac.
Scousanac, of course, like Sassenach. Why can't I think of that?
Scousenach, no.
That's another thing. We'll talk about that later.
That's the it's a different movie. Okay,
that's a beaver. Also, yeah, and just remember, it is early. Asks, who is your favorite Murray child? It's controversial.
I mean, it has to be young Ian.
You would really.
I mean, I love young Jamie as well, who's played by Connor McCarry. Connor is an absolutely lovely boy and a really good actor, and I'm very fond of him as a person. But I have more. I only really interact with young Ian, so it has to be young Ian, I'm afraid.
Fair enough.
I also think in the show, I think young Ian is his favourite in the show. He definitely has a favourite.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, he chased after him. He went to that brothel to find him. That's commitment.
Yeah. Well, he went to the brothel to find him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a good dad. What a great dad.
Yeah. What a great dad.
Why is Jamie living in a brothel? We'll never know. Robert, you want to ask your next one? And then
I would. You raised this earlier. You touched on it earlier, but why do you not? Well, what do you think about sex scenes and doing them, and why do you not like them? But apart from
they're just like strangely trying to create some sort of intimacy in a room like full of people, cameras, It's very technical. Often with somebody, sometimes, you know, I've done a couple where it's like on the day. I only met the actress on the day. It's you know, if there's nudity involved, it's embarrassing. It's like you kind of you're trying to be as unself-conscious. I mean, all the time in front of the camera, you're trying to be as unself-conscious as possible. But I mean, they're very much just part of it. If it actually really, really informs the scene, then fair enough. But it's just such an odd part of the job. Even doing a kissing scene, to be honest, is like on the Diplomat show that I did in Barcelona. My very first scene with one of the actresses in it on the very first day. Our first scene at 8 o'clock in the morning was a kissing scene, wouldn't it? You know, and it's just it's fucking weird. You know, it's totally also there's nothing. It's completely technical, and you're just trying to make it work but I've never fortunately had to do as many sex scenes as Sam and Caitríona and Outlander. That's obviously been there's quite a lot there, and judging by that scene that we saw earlier on, quite intense as well. But I would happily never do another one.
Yeah. No, they're just very awkward. I mean, I know the audience enjoys them, and it does show a part of, especially in the early years of a couple getting to know each other. But they're really rough, and I'm so glad intimacy coordinators have been brought onto shows, because it's just
Listen, they're great.
They weren't there before.
Yeah, the one that we had on the Diplomat was fantastic, and actually made it very very easy. And I'm all for whatever makes everyone involved more comfortable. Then then great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So not including season 7. What was your favorite? Rachel would like to know, what was your favorite scene to film with Sam?
Well, I have a nice scene with him in season 7. That was the location that we filmed in was actually probably the most picturesque location that I filmed in the whole time I've been on Outlander. That was nice. But the scene that I always look back on with real joy, and it still makes me smile, is in season 1 when we're fixing the cart and Taryn McQuarrie has come to visit, and I'm telling him we couldn't do that. We couldn't stop laughing, and that we had to take after take after take after take, because when we were meant to be fixing the cart, neither of us knew what the fuck we were doing. So we were like just doing like fixing the cart acting, and we would be hammering and then catch each other's eye and just burst out laughing. And we got into like about take 14 or something, and we ended up doing it, I think, where when I was speaking to him, I was just kind of looking at his chin instead of looking at his eyes, because you just get, it's like when you're at school and the teacher tells you to be quiet, and then all you can do is laugh. It's just impossible to keep a straight face. So, and also, I actually also think it was a good scene as well. Like I thought it was a really good scene and a really nice scene between them. But yeah, it was a lot of fun filming it.
Oh, I love that. And Rachel also wants to know, what was your favorite scene to film with Caitríona?
Season 3, definitely. You know, in terms of like from an actual dramatic and creative point of view, season 3, where I see her for the first time.
So
again, like after thinking she was dead.
Yeah,
like, definitely. It definitely wasn't the funniest, but it's definitely my favorite moment with her.
Yeah, I love that.
Again, with that scene, like whenever I think about Ian Murray or Steven Cree in the show, I think about that scene, and I think about that tear. It's beautiful. Anyway, so you stood up for your character a few times on set, and you've said, "Look, I don't agree, and I respectfully, I think we should do it this way." Actors do it often, and sometimes they get a reputation for being, prima donnas or whatever it may be. And do you find that you're doing it from a place of real, like, genuine, like you really want it to work for the show, but do you find you get pushback on different sets, Outlander and Diplomat and so forth, when you're saying, "Hang on a second, I think we should do it this way"? Like they're like, "Shut up, you're just the actor, just shut up and read your lines"?
Yeah, I mean, like, you definitely I've never necessarily experienced, them telling you to shut up, so to speak. It depends where your part, well, what your part is in it. Like when I was younger, and if I had a very small part in something, even though there aren't no small parts, but if you're on something for one day or 2 days, I definitely wouldn't have felt the same confidence to do it, because you are scared of getting a bad reputation. And I think unfortunately sometimes actors get reputations for being difficult a little bit harshly, because actually a lot of the time it's coming from a place of caring about the script and caring about the character. And I think actors, you're not writing the script, but actors understand what sometimes I think stuff that's missing or stuff that can make it better. And I think there's a way to go about it, though. I don't scream and shout, so I will always try and be polite. Or in Discovery of Witches, there was something that I remember we were struggling to get right, and I wrote an email to the producers and the writers, and was just said, look, if you don't mind, can I speak? Can we have like a Zoom call, and can we have a little chat about it? And and then you constructively chat about it. Similarly, in Outlander, when I did that in season 3, I didn't stand in the set. I wasn't going, and that's where that's when you can get a bad rep. Some actors I have, will be like, I'm not doing this. I'm going to be in my trailer, blah blah blah.
Wow.
And maybe they would argue. I don't know. I never think that sort of behaviour is necessary. But I think if you just say, look, let's talk about it, and I mean, actually, in season 7 there, something sort of similar happened, and I just like politely spoke to him and said, I think this is they'd written something and taken it out, and I was like, I don't know why you're taking it out, because it was better when it was in, and we had a chat about it, and they put it back in. So it's I think just you don't need to go in like a bull in a china shop if you want to
And from what Caitríona and Sam have said previously, it seems very collaborative on the set, and everyone wants just like the best show that they can get, which is great. I think you guys produce an amazing show. Okay, I do want to get back to, we still have like a few more fan questions. Meryl asks, in the book Marley asks, in the book have a lot of oh my gosh, can I talk now, guys? It's Friday. Marley asks, in the book, Ian has a lot of kids and a lot of grandkids. Will there be enough stuffed cabbage for all of them?
No.
Probably not.
Yes.
Oh, really? Ian.
Yeah, there's always enough stuffed cabbage to go around at Lallybroch. Always.
Okay, Vicky asks, do you have the best? Oh, we kind of did. Do you still have the best wig in season 7, or
yes,
who has the best wig in general out of all the characters?
David Berry's is pretty good.
I love David Berry's. Yeah,
it looks good, and he looks good in it as well. He rocks it, I think. So
very handsome man. Yeah,
maybe very, very handsome, very, very
typical Australians. Like they're bringing their A game.
Like yourself, Robert. Absolutely.
Oh, it's almost time to debun. Okay, the fans really want, they want to know, does your back hurt and your leg hurt after walking with a wooden leg? And then someone asked about your hips. How are your hips?
Yeah. Do you have any X-rays that we can?
Yeah. Your hips, do they lie? I don't know.
Do they lie?
In season 1, in Shakira style, in season 1, I had some pain actually, and I had to go to physio. But then once I got used to be, and I think in season 1, I would maybe insist, or I would want to stay in it a little bit more, like stay on the wooden leg, just to kind of try and stay in character or something. But you don't have to do that. And so actually in between takes or in between the shots or whatever, I just take the leg off and then I can stand properly again. So actually I'm not often actually in the wooden leg for huge periods of time. And so it's okay. And then once you get used to kind of knowing how to distribute your weight a
Yeah.
bit more, it becomes easier.
Yeah, because your weight's all on your knee. That would be very painful.
Yeah. It totally can. It definitely was at first, but it's all right now.
Yeah. Someone asked also, I don't know, is there a story behind this that I don't know? Did Caitríona keep stealing your wooden leg?
What?
No,
Okay, that's what I thought. All right.
I mean, I wish there was a story behind that, but I'm afraid not. No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I feel like that person just made it up. All right, guys. There's our Cree commentary. Our wonderful chat with
That's
Steven
so
Cree
good.
has come to an end, which is so sad. Guys, we talked for like an hour and a half. More than
I know.
planned.
I know. We talked for a while. It was a long.
Oh wait! Oh my God! You just did that so casually.
I know. I just
Oh my
wanted to do it
goodness.
like just. You
I
know,
wish
like,
you were wearing a
it's
lighter
really
colored shirt so I could really see.
Robert.
So you got like this is pandemic hair, right? So it's pretty long.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna cut it soon, but I've always wanted to see what it would be like to have long hair, and so the pandemic was the perfect excuse.
I would keep it. If I was you, that is very, very, very strong, very thick hair. I think you should keep it.
It's oh, thank you. Okay, I'll just have that argument with my spouse when she's going to wake up shortly, because we went out last night and we were both on the terps. And anyway,
well done.
All right, guys. Stephen, thank you so much. Can't wait to see the Diplomat. I hope it comes to the US soon. And of course, we can't wait to see you in Outlander season 7. And I think that's all. Good luck to your hips. I hope Caitríona doesn't steal your leg. And what a great chat, guys.
It's been
Thank
great.
you. Thank you. Loved it. Thank you very much. Great chatting.